All right, welcome back, you guys. You know what that sound means? It means it's Cereal Monday. I hope you're happy, sitting at home with your feet up, a big old bowl of Tricks or Shreddies or something, ready to catch some more of our Madden 25 Connected Franchise Owner Mode Fantasy Draft with Ralph Wilson, Buffalo Bills YouTube series. Thank you all so much for the kind words about our resolved audio situation. I, too, am much happier with being able to supply you guys with a first-rate audio experience while we are playing our beloved Madden. With that being said, we are on today with our practice and upkeep, starting with our fourth block of guys, that being our defensive line. So let's go ahead. Before we even do any more talking, let's go. Thaddeus Gibson. Awareness is still an issue with him being just 26 years old, not having a ton of playing experience. But with that being said, he's having a great season for us. Has been getting in the backfield a lot, making a lot of great plays, putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, which is great. It's his job to rush the quarterback, and it's his productivity in that regard that got him the starting spot at the defensive end position. For him, the biggest thing is I think just keep his block shedding ability up. His power moves, finesse moves are basically where they need to be. Let's just top that up with a little bit of tackling. Play recognition is going to need some work, but now that his awareness is in the 80s, I feel like we can channel a lot of the points there towards play recognition, and that'll be good to go. On to the next one, back to our left ends. Rob Ninkovich is still listed here, of course, because though he is playing defensive tackle, his main spot is, of course, the defensive end spot. For him, his consistency trait, wow, is that low? That's a shame. But for him, I think his hit power needs to be upgraded, get him up to an 83 in that regard. And after that, it's about block shedding. That'll take up all the rest of his points, just 166 left. Though with a little adjustment we're going to make, Rob Ninkovich is going to be playing some defensive end again for us, though that is under wraps until we're in practice. And then after that, Austin Lane, the backup. I think for him it's just going to be about power moves. Austin Lane, I don't think will ever be a star in the National Football League, whether it's for us or someone else to whom he could move on. But his power moves, if you're a defensive end in the National Football League, your power moves can't be sitting in the 60s. That's just not allowed. It's just silly. So we can get him up to an 80 in that regard, and I'm happy. After that, just block shedding ability. Again, I really like to rely on my defensive ends as pass rushers predominantly. I'm not a big fan of the big bulky defensive ends who struggle to move around. And you can do that because again, as I've said, like I really like the Casey Hampton, Vince Wilfork type of defensive tackles who are kind of the bump on a log kind of defensive tackles who don't have a ton of mobility, but as long as you have defensive ends who are speedy, you can do both. Just have have both extremes represented on your defensive line. So Austin Lane, a little more of a pass rusher now than he was. Bruce Irvin, always love upgrading Bruce Irvin because he's just so weird to upgrade, to be perfectly honest. We spent a lot of points getting his awareness up, getting his play recognition up. With that being the case, for him, it's always about block shedding. We've worked on a lot of things. He's got some areas of his game that are so incredibly good. I mean, this is a guy whose power moves are at 95. His strength is only 70. That's not great, but his hit power is way up there. His agility is incredible. His speed is 90. A speed of 90, acceleration that good. At the defensive end spot is insane. So if we can keep his block shedding ability up, maybe even get it to the 90s next time around, that would be wonderful. His finesse moves still aren't there, but that's okay. That's not really his role. His role is to rush the quarterback, which he's getting better and better at. He's had some really disappointing times for us, but he is improving. Jason Hunter, meanwhile, not overly concerned with his role at the team. He is somebody who is probably not going to be with us next season. But for him, let's see if we can get his block shedding ability up a bit. After that, maybe hit power would be nice, because he is somebody who does play on our goal line every once in a while when we go to the goal line formation on defense. So we can get that up just a little bit, get that up to 69. There we go. Move on from that. 131 years old, career kind of journeyman defensive end. Not overly interested in keeping him around. Vince Wilfork, onto our defensive tackles. Wilfork, who's been a beast for us since starting with this team. Not a lot that I really worry about with him because he is so good at what he does. I mean, maybe we look at hit power, maybe get his hit power up from 70 to maybe like a 75 if that allows. I don't think we can get it quite up that high, but we'll see. Actually, yeah, we can get up to 75, and then we're good. There you go. Vince Wilfork, solid in the 3-4, solid in the 4-3. He does it all, and he does it all so well. Moving on to the other defensive tackle spots, Ishmael Kitchen doesn't get a ton of playing time, but when he does get a chance, does fine on the defensive side of things. Has some holes in his game. Will never be a starting defensive tackle for us, but he has some good abilities. Tackling ability is impressive. Block shedding ability is impressive. Power moves pretty good. For him, I would like to see his play recognition and his awareness up a bit. Play recognition, let's at least get that up to like a 60. Kitchen is a backup who I'd like to hold on to for a while because he's young, because he has an inexpensive contract. He just re-upped with us this past offseason for, I think, 2 more years. And again, being younger, he is worth bringing along, in my opinion, a little more. Again, not to be a star defensive tackle. That's why we have some other guys in the system. That's why we're looking to draft a guy in the 3rd or 4th round this upcoming draft to have that individual become a potential starter or even a very good starter, an incumbent to to Vince Wilfork eventually one day. But Kitchen is worth holding on to because, again, he's so young. There are some parts of his play that are so good. If we can just kind of do our best to supplement some of the areas that are weak, then I think we have a solid backup. His hit power, tackling, I think that's fine. Let's get his stamina up 1 to 78, and I think we can leave that with 1,000 points. That should be fine. So Kitchen up a bit at the defensive tackle spot. Moving on from there, we have Frank Oakham coming up next, 28 years old. Oakham, a big boy, 350 pounds. Another guy who I'd like to hold on to. I just like having a couple of extra defensive tackles in the hole, just in case. Power moves are impressive. Consistency is poor, but we don't want to spend points on consistency. Just given he already has holes in his game. Consistency is not the top worry right now. Stamina, let's get him up to about a 72 in this regard if we can. Gatorade Prime. Ooh, I want a Gatorade right now. That's what this makes me want. Awareness, let's get that up to maybe a 75. And then if we've got points left, let's go with block shedding ability. Get him able to make some more plays. 70 isn't great in that regard, that's for sure. Even for an interior lineman, let's get that up to a 75-ish if we can. We might even be able to get it up to like a 77, 78-ish. Let's take this one as far as we can go. We got it to 75. We'll get it up to 76, fine. And 76 is going to be the cap for where we can go. And sure, let's do a play recognition, get that up to 62. So we're bringing Oakham along. We're bringing Kitchen along at those interior defensive tackle spots. Ninkovich also playing there as well, of course. Now, Camille Linton, the undrafted free agent we brought in this past offseason, we brought him in as a project. He's very young. Camille Linton sitting at just the age of 21, 6'4", 345, something ridiculous out of Notre Dame. Play recognition and awareness has been where we're spending a lot of our time and points. Let's get both of those up to about a 72 today. Once they're at a 72, I think we can leave them both for now. We'll come back and keep bringing those up. But he has some other areas of his game that are pretty darn good. Starting at a 74 for block shedding. I don't think we've put any points into his block shedding as of yet, but starting in the mid 70s is a good sign for again a kid who's just 21, who just went undrafted. But we can get his block shedding up to an 80, which is already pretty freaking decent for a defensive tackle. After that, his tackling ability needs to be improved. We can get that up today to about a 78, probably, maybe a 79. No, 78 is going to be the cap. So he spent all his points, but if you see that, look at that. His finesse power moves need work, but his block shedding's getting up there. His stamina is not awful for a defensive tackle. We can keep working on that. His hit power, not bad. He's already got one consistency. He's already got his clutch trait, high motor. He's already got his bull rush. He's got his swim move. Acceleration needs a lot of work, but his speed is pretty good for a defensive tackle. His strength is incredible at 92, injury at 86. So he's got, in my opinion, I think he's got the tools to potentially be a starting defensive tackle for us. Again, despite the fact that he's when undrafted, he's already 73 overall. And again, just 21 years old. So even if we say, hey, let's take 5 years to develop this kid, at the end of it, we're still laughing because he's so young. Even if in 5 years, if he's 26, that's okay. He'll still be a star for us for 8 seasons because defensive tackles can play for so long. Anyways, with that being said, we've already decided essentially with our first pick that we're going to be looking at taking Bacon Benedict, who's been very impressive out of Rutgers, 6'6", 344, big old boy. We like his run blocking ability. We love his size, his impact blocking, his strength. We love all that, his injury. There are some other centers here that aren't bad, but we would like to spend our first pick on Macon Benedict. We might have to make a trade to pull that off, but that's okay. That's fine. After that, we basically decided that we're not going to try and kind of force any of these kind of I don't even know what you call them, these vastly undersized defensive tackles upon ourselves. Instead, we're gonna look to some of these bigger guys, some of the heavier guys, and see if we can find a diamond in the rough that we can select with, a 3rd, 4th, or 5th round pick, basically somebody in the middle. So we looked last time at Chaz Deitch, who has some upside, some areas that he's not so strong. I like his size, 6'1", 340. That's very Vince Wilfork-esque, just 20 years old. His strength isn't bad. Powered finesse moves and his block shedding leaves something to be desired. But his tackling's not bad. Hit power not bad. Speed pretty good for a defensive tackle. I like his agility. Acceleration rating, that's a bit of a problem. But all these players who are found at this part of the draft are going to have some problems. It's just the reality of the matter. If they had no problems, then they'd be the first overall pick. And so we're going to look today at Shane Houston. His speed, a C. Agility's a C. Acceleration is a C. Not overly impressed by any of those, but that's okay. Strength is a B. Okay. Power moves a D. Finesse moves a C. Block shedding a C. Tackling a C. Hit power a C. Awareness a D. Pursuit a C. Injury a B. Stamina a B. Play recognition a C. Toughness a C. And so what we're seeing basically for the most part here is an F for a personality. Shane Houston, not overwhelmed out of St. John's. Again, we've talked about it, but there's a bunch of these defensive tackles who are very close in predicted range where they can go. Right now, Shane Houston just one spot after Daesh in terms of his predicted place, and Mason Bellew, who's a little older, 23 years old, 6'2", 340, after them. So right now, I definitely would prefer Chaz to Shane. But let's take a look at Mason Bellew, 6'2", 340, a little older at the age of 23. Let's see what he's got, brings to the table. Speed is a B. That's already better. Oh, we do not have enough points for that. That's my mistake. Finesse moves are a D. Power moves are a C. Strength is a B. So all these guys B for strength, which I don't love. I'd rather see an A in that spot. Tackling and block shedding a C. Hit power a C. And the last thing we can check, injury is important. That's a B. All these guys with a B in injury, I don't like that personally. But we can go on. Play recognition is a C. So these three guys, my favorite by far right now is Chad Deitch, I don't know, out of South Dakota. But we'll come back here. We want to make sure that, especially in this zone, between Deitch, Houston, Bellew, all these guys who are the size that we're looking for. And then maybe even later we can look at Villanueva, Ogletree, House, depending on their size, depending on their abilities. figure that out and see who we want kind of that defensive tackle spot. To kind of, who knows, maybe Linton and one of those guys is going to be our dude for the next 10 years, the defensive tackle spot. That'd be pretty awesome. Anyways, we're moving on to practice. At this point, we're talking about practice. We got back on Wednesday of last week on Thursday to our winning ways against the Flippity Flops. We lost on Wednesday. We won on Thursday as a bit of a mini 2-game series against them with our bye week coming into play. We're going to try and keep our streak alive here. We have actually, we don't have a streak yet. We've won one practice scenario. We're trying to make it a two-win streak at this point. Our season game tomorrow, it's going to be against the New England Patriots. So we've played 2 straight divisional games. Well, guess what? We got a third one coming up in Foxborough at Gillette Stadium to play the New England Patriots, who are sitting with a 2-3 record. So here we go. We got to practice before then. Let's take a look at what we can do. We went with third quarter tie the last 2 practice scenarios because of the shortened week with the bye and everything. We're not going to do that this time. I think we should go with up by 3. You've got 3 minutes to go and you're up by 3. Hold on to win it. Because this one, I believe, we begin with punting the ball. Or at least we start on defense. And that's what I want to check out today. In my last video on Friday, episode number 70, I talked a little bit about somebody in the comments made a suggestion which kind of sparked my inspiration to reconsider the way we use 3-4. Obviously, nowadays, Bruce Irvin of the Seattle Seahawks, who was drafted in the first round in 2012, basically just as an athletic freak, somebody with great size and speed, but without a real bona fide position in football with which to use his skills and attributes. He was playing defensive end, which is why he's a defensive end in this game. Now playing outside linebacker in a 4-3 scheme, but he would ultimately fit really well in playing in a 3-4 scheme. So what I would like to do is, now I don't know if I can do this in game. I checked off camera. I can't do it. I can't change formation subs. Basically, is what I call it. Is changing your formation depending on the depth chart. Anyways, it doesn't appear as though I can do it here. Custom audibles, no, that's manual. No, that's going to be the game manual. That's not what I want. So we're going to have to do it kind of in-game here. Basically what I want to do, and this is a shame because they're going to make me call a play. So we'll call a play. It's 3rd and 5, by the way. The flippity flops in here. And while we want to stop them, it would be kind of nice if we didn't stop them, because then we could call the subs as we would like. And sure enough, they're going to get a first down off the end, but they're going to score a touchdown just off the right side there, easily from 20 yards out. That's a drag. Hopefully we have more defensive snaps. Basically, as we try to block the field goal here, the PAT, I should say, after the flippity flops running back scored at will, basically what I'm interested in doing is moving Bruce Irvin to the outside linebacker spot. He, I think, could be a physical freak for us and a really great pass rusher if given the ability to rush the quarterback from that outside linebacker spot in a 3-4 scheme. Now, moving him back to that linebacking spot means that we don't have to, because my trepidation about playing the 3-4 scheme has always been that we don't have the middle linebacker for it. John Bostic's a fine run blocker in a 4-3 scheme, though he is the weakest part of our front seven. And then not having a second middle linebacker to stand beside him and step up and play well. So what I'm thinking is, if we go 3-4, what we're going to do is we're going to move Irvin back to the outside linebacker spot, and then take Ninkovich and move him back to his outside or to his defensive end spot. So with Ninkovich at his end spot, and with Wilfork in the middle, our defensive line would be Gibson, Ninkovich, and Wilfork, which I like a lot. And then our linebacking core would be Durant taking the middle spot. So Justin Durant would move inside as kind of a run-stopping linebacker. to play on the inside with Bostic, and then Whirls and Irvin would play the outside spot. Now, it's not optimal. Jason Whirls doesn't really have the speed to play that outside linebacker spot, but he's not awfully slow, so it could work. And I think it would really free up Bruce Irvin. Now, I'm not suggesting that we make this change and we go full out and that's, this is our defense from now on. All I'm saying is it might be an interesting look to kind of give our team or our defense, for 10 snaps a game kind of thing. Here, Eric Baldwin wide open down the sidelines. He's got a first down at the 10-yard line of the flippity flops. Came wide open on a broken play, hit in stride, brings it down. And so right here, we're going to try and slow this game right down, go to the goal line formation. My ultimate goal would be to run 3 plays, score on the third one, and kill all that time. I don't think I'll be able to do that. But here we go. Ryan Williams gets down to the 3-yard line. Flippity Flop's not calling a timeout, which is nice. That means that we can get the clock down to about 1:45-ish between now and then, which is beautiful. Here they're really stuffing the middle. I would be concerned if it was third down, but this is second down, so that's okay. So anyways, hopefully the Flippity Flops will get the ball back. We'll be able to run those or make those subs manually, which is a huge pain in the butt. I know in previous editions of Madden, you've been able to make what are just called formation subs. So you'd say, well, here's the little depth chart I want for my 3-4 formation, and then that would allow you to have certain configurations all the time. If there is something that you guys know about that I could do to make that change permanently, please let me know. Until then, we're kind of left hanging in the wind. But there we go. Ryan Williams, beautiful run off the right side. Kudos to the offensive line. Vasquez and Gilbert there to make the play. Greg the Leg puts it up and through to restore the 3-point Buffalo Bill lead with 44 seconds left. We're going to kick it off here. Greg the Leg. Bada bing, bada boom. Full power. That's going to be a touchback. Don't even think about returning that shiz, son. Sure enough, number 80 of the Flippity Flops takes a knee. 44 seconds left. And so we're going to have to make super fast adjustments here. So subs, we can go for 3-4. We want number 9. Oh, this is going to be hard to do. I already can see it coming. Ninkovich in there. Anyways, we're gonna call this. So we managed to make one substitute. Now I could get faster at it as time goes on, but right now Irvin's not even in the game, which is a shame. Bostic in coverage there takes out his receiver at the 28-yard line. We'll try again to make those adjustments. It should remember that Rob Ninkovich, sure enough, wants to be there, and that means we can go to number 53. But I cannot put more into the game, or Irvin into the game. Oh, Irvin can go in there. Okay, so we have some of our adjustments made now. We have Ninkovich, Irvin in the right spot. We just need to move Durant inside and then to put Whirls in Durant's spot. Well, actually, no, we put Irvin in the wrong spot. That's what happened. Meanwhile, we're going to stop making these adjustments because we need to focus on the practice scenario. I was hoping that we'd be able to run a bunch of plays and be able to try this out and see if we can implement it in the game tomorrow, but my goodness, I think we'll have to hold off on this just because it's a bit of a messy situation. Here underneath, John Bostic in coverage on the tight end blows it. Flippity flops a first down up to the 31-yard line. Let's see if we can go back to the 3-4. We'll put in for number 98, Irvin. And this is confusing because you have to, I don't really like this at all, to be honest. I was going to call a play. It would be nice if while you're calling subs, you can just point the joystick at whatever position you want to perform the substitute. But you can't do that. It wants you to file through clicking left to right to find the right one, which is really frustrating. Anyways, as I'm speaking this, the flippity flops are decimating our secondary. We're going to go ahead, spread out the defensive line. We're going back to the old way of 4-3. We're going to try and rush the quarterback off the edge here. 25 seconds left. The flippity flops already in field goal range. There's a nice tackle from, it looked to be Drake Kirkpatrick. I could be wrong on that. Sure enough, yes, that was Sharknado Thomas. I apologize to Shamarko, a.k.a. Sharknado, on that one. We're going to go ahead, cover 2 here. 2nd and 5 coming up. Flippity flops officially in field goal range. It looks like they're just running the ball here, wanting to let the clock expire. And a nice play there. Bruce Irvin coming all the way from the other side of the defensive line. And an interesting decision here. The Flippity-Flops not calling a timeout. They're just letting the clock run down, presumably to set up a field goal. But they are going to be kicking a 53-yarder. Why wouldn't you want to set your team up from closer than 53 yards? It's 53 yards. Most kickers can make that, but it's not an automatic. Anyways, here comes the Flippity-Flop kicker from 53 yards out. It's up, and is it? Oh, it's good by oh my goodness, by about the width of a toothpick on both sides of the post. Barely, it was almost wide right, and then it was almost short. Magically, it stays in, though, and Basman Hooker's going to get a chance to return this one, and he gets lit up. Doesn't get around the edge. Don't worry, we'll fix the depth chart, get Jacoby Ford in that spot. And so we're kicking off to start overtime. Typically, we've always received an overtime of these practice scenarios. Instead, this time we got to kick off, and Greg the Leg didn't get off a very good kick. They're going to have a chance to return this one. Jeff Crumlin runs right by him, and the returner's got room. C.O. Moore, diving tackle at the 44-yard line. A great return there for the Flippity-Flops, and so they are going to have an opportunity to score pretty quickly here, which is a real shame. 10-3, the score in the one touchdown and a field goal for the Flippity-Flops. 10-7. Buffalo Bills added a touchdown as well. Defense continuing to get shredded as it did in our last regular season game. Tight end gets out of the backfield, but John Bostic right there to make the tackle for relatively no gain, about a half yard. 2nd and 9 coming up here for the Flippity-Flops. We're going to engage 8. Oh, sorry, we're going to linebacker dogs. This way we get Sanford in coverage instead of our linebacking core. And they're going to pick on that spot. The wide receiver, though, steps out of bounds. Somehow they still count it as a catch, though. 3rd and 6 coming up here for the Flippity-Flops. It was a completed pass. Whatever. We're going to go nickel. We're going to go overload one roll. This should allow us. We're going to spread out. We're going to edge rush. This should allow us to get some pressure off our right side, their left side. Sanford in coverage. And they're going to run it on the inside. A nice play to counter exactly what it was we were doing. 11 yards up the gut. Did not see that one coming. Kudos to the Flippity-Flops, those tricky Flippity-Flops for making that call. 1st and 10 coming up here from the 29-yard line now for the Flippity-Flops. A turnover could not come soon enough for this team right now. That is us. And there's a nice sack. Gibson comes off the right side, decimates the quarterback. Beautiful stuff. I would stop and give him the thumbnail for this video, but the truth is he's already got so many thumbnails, it'd be hard to justify it. He just caught one this past week. And on a nice play there by Drake Kirkpatrick, knocking that ball away. I'm going to give him credit for that one by giving him a thumbnail, just because it's so nice to see one of our defensive players making an athletic play to stop a completion, because that's been pretty rare these past few days, and I really like that. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Done. Drake Kirkpatrick getting his big old mitten there, knocking the ball away. Over Storm Braves. So we're in the nickel. We're sending a little bit of heat. 3 receivers to the left side, including the tight end lined up in the slot. Sanford's got him mano a mano. Standing back, the quarterback's taking his sweet-ass time. And he's going to stand in and get a sack. And that's a beautiful thing. Justin Durant gets a sack on the blitz. We're going to call a timeout with 3 minutes left in the overtime scenario, because at 4th and 25, taking those 2 sacks, suddenly the Flippity-Flops aren't going to be able to kick a field goal. They're going to come away with nothing. The defense holds at the perfect time. 2 sacks on that series of the last 3 plays. The ball's going to go out of bounds at about the 10-yard line, 14-yard lines where they're going to spot it. 2:55 left in the practice scenario. We just have to score a field goal to win this one, because this will be the second possession of overtime. All we need is a field goal. We don't need to score a touchdown, so we can play it safe. We got a lot of time to work with, and we're going to throw it away here. Aaron Rodgers rolls right, throws it away. We had a couple options downfield for a moment, but with it being overtime and everything on 1st down, there's no reason to try and force it if it's not there for sure. So, had that been fourth down, maybe that would have been different. But for the most part, right now we want to play it. Say play action, and fortunately for us, that gets picked up. Aaron Rodgers can't get it off. Oh, that's a shame. The flippity flop sent the kitchen sink. The blitz was picked up perfectly by Ryan Williams, who was standing in on the play action. Unfortunately, with Rodgers rolling, just wasn't able to get the ball away, set his feet at all. We had a couple of options wide open down the field, which really sucks. Here, Basman Hooker standing in. He picks up a nice catch by him, puts his head down. That's something Basman Hooker's been so great at, 20 yards up the gut there. Basman Hooker, he looks so small, and his speed makes you think that he's just a little scat back, can't put his head down. But my goodness, his strength is so strong. And when he does put his head down, he makes people hurt. There, Deshaun Jackson makes a nice catch up the sideline, stays in bounds, clock running. 44-yard line, 6 yards to go before hitting the midfield stripe. 2-minute warning comes here. We're going to put the ball on the ground here, I think. I'm still not worried about the time. Again, we don't have to score a touchdown to win this overtime scenario. All we need is a field goal. So really we're only 20 yards-ish out from capturing this thing. Here, Ryan Williams goes off the left side, gets some nice room, 4 yards. There, the free safety was pinching up along with one of the linebackers rolling out. We're going to go play action fullback flat. So John Kuhn's going out into the flat. Eric Baldwin running the corner route off the play action. There's going to be a lot. Oh, there's no time. Tons of pressure up the gut. No ability. I missed that completely. The middle linebacker comes up on the blitz virtually untouched. Doesn't give Aaron Rodgers a chance to throw that ball at all. So the pressure comes up, and we're going to have to convert here on 3rd and 14. Deshaun Jackson, fortunately, though, comes open, takes a hit, but holds onto the football. We're up to the 44-yard line now, the flippity flops, which means that we really only need one first down to capture this one. Here, Eric Baldwin goes out into the flat. He's kind of covered. Oh, but wide open? No, Aaron Rodgers can't get the ball off. He takes a shot from the right defensive end of the flippity flop, setting up 2nd and 10. Our offense hasn't been a picture of beauty in this overtime scenario, I'll say that. But we are moving the ball slowly but surely, converting on a couple of third downs. Here, Eric Baldwin lined up in the slot, makes a nice move on the out route, and that, my friends, will force the flippity flops to start using their timeouts. With a score 20-20, we're going to be able to run the football and just run this practice scenario out up to the 28-yard line off that reception from Baldwin. Bada bing, bada boom. Ryan Williams, the strong safety showing blitz. He gets picked up. Ryan Williams cuts it in around Eric Baldwin, who's doing a nice job clearing out there. And so the flippity flops, no more timeouts. We're going to go Bills zone weak. Just run it to the middle of the field where Ryan Williams will hopefully get some yardage, but mostly just line up the field goal perfectly for us. Sure enough, he gets knocked down 7 yards, but puts the ball right in the center of the field. That'll allow us to take a knee and then kick a field goal on the next play. So we'll take a knee here. We're not going to kick a field goal yet because the game clock is longer than the play clock, which would mean that we'd have to kick the ball back off to the flippity flops. So instead we do this. Take a knee at our own 20-yard line. That sets up a 37-yarder for Greg the Leg. And for Greg the Leg, a 37-yarder is like a 2-yarder to a normal person. So we'll just wait here for Greg the Leg to be able to kick off. We're going to wait for the game clock to come down to about 2 seconds. If we are successful, we will have extended our practice winning streak to 2 practice scenarios, which is pretty phenomenal. Hey, I like beating the flippity flops. Here we go. 2 seconds. The ball is back. It is up. And, folks, it is good. No doubt about that one. Greg the Leg, good from 37 yards out. The practice scenario is over. That's another 2,000 points towards the development of all of our players. And it's a beautiful thing. Thank you guys for joining me for Serial Monday. Hope you all have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow for episode number 72. And I am out.